Hello, you're listening to ReedyGeeks, a Walt Disney World podcast. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined today by our hot take commissioner, Sean.
That's a title I will wear proudly. I'm full of hot takes. You'll probably hear some more during this episode. A happy title, one that fits me well.
And we're joined by...
It's a little quiet.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. It's just Sean.
There's no one else here.
That's it.
You only sent the invite to me.
All right.
It felt like something was wrong.
Well, we'll keep it that way. Well, if you have a good title for Sean here, send us an email at ReedyGeeks@gmail.com. In today's episode, the Geeks discuss what Disney has taken away over the years and why they were wrong to do so. So, Sean, we're missing someone.
Yeah, it feels a little empty in here.
Some might say our better third is gone.
Some could say that. I think he would say that for sure.
Yeah, he would definitely say that. He would definitely say that. You know, sometimes people say you have addition by subtraction, right? That's also another way to look at it.
People do say that.
Yeah, that's a saying.
We don't really have a subtraction because we're still going to put JJ to work editing this episode, so he doesn't get fully out of it. But if you've listened this far and you have not gotten tired of Andrew and I's voice already, you'll notice JJ is not with us today. We approved his PTO, but in this instance, P is for podcast and not paid because I don't know about you guys, but I'm certainly not seeing $1 out of this. So it's his podcast time off.
Well, we just choose not to give you any.
Listen, I don't see the reports. I don't see the numbers. But I think JJ has alluded in the last couple episodes that he and his wife Sam did a pretty big thing, maybe the most adult thing you can do recently, and they bought a house. And he's pretty busy at the time we're recording this, moving in. So we're gonna give him some time. And we'll hold down the fort in his absence. And again, we'll still put him to hard work editing whatever Andrew and I put out in this episode, so he won't exactly get off the hook.
Yeah, I was thinking that it would be nice to make this a mini episode, but I don't know. Looking at this agenda here, and this is going to be a long one. Sorry, JJ. We got a lot to talk about.
He'll make his triumphant return. Yeah, he'll make his triumphant return next week.
Maybe we should have a segment where he corrects us and tells us what we got wrong in this episode.
Listener feedback from the guy who edits the podcast.
From JJ. Yeah. All right, so let's get into today's episode. You know, according to our friends at the Florida Project podcast, pretty good podcast, just give it a listen. Walt Disney once said, "It's going to change or whatever, so get over it, jerks." And to be fair, he wasn't wrong. Walt Disney World has changed since day one. Attractions close, restaurants come and go, shows get updated, whole lands end up evolving. Change is kind of part of the deal, but not every change feels like progress. Sometimes Disney takes something away that had charm, personality, or just made the place feel a little bit more special. Sometimes Disney just gets rid of something you loved. You understand why, but you never really stop missing it. Other times Disney leaves you scratching your head thinking, why? Why would they do that? It's money, guys. It's money. Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's one reason. It's money.
It's money. After spending all of March celebrating the best of Disney dining with Mouse Madness, we decided negative April was the perfect time to talk about the other side of loving Disney World. Because being a fan of something does not mean pretending every decision is a good one. Sometimes the people who love the place most are the ones most qualified to say, yeah, they blew that one.
Yeah.
Last week, we kicked things off with our MySpace bottom 8 worst rides at Walt Disney World. And this week, we're talking about things Disney took away too soon. So you got a list there, Sean?
I think we have a couple lists, yeah. We have JJ's contribution, so he's here in some form of spirit. We have some of the things he wanted to include here. So, yeah. I mean, let's kick right into it.
Yeah, and we're not doing this like a top 8 or anything like that. Just a a healthy discussion about some things that Disney probably shouldn't have taken away, or they took away a little too soon.
If you've ever wondered what it was like to just listen to Andrew and I talk, this is it. Stick around, please.
This is it. They've already left. Everyone's gone. All right. So I wanted to take us all the way back to the 70s. Something that kind of went away, but I think people view this as a 70s part of Disney, but really it went pretty long. And that's the idea of Disney being the vacation kingdom. So having other activities other than just the parks, resort activities, like for example, going on the speedboats on Bay Lake, or skiing on Bay Lake, or power sailing on Bay Lake, using the beaches. Oftentimes, I feel like people consider that like, oh, that was back in the 80s, or that was back, in the 70s. But they didn't stop the swimming in the water until 2001. So it really wasn't that long ago that they stopped all the swimming and all the activities. And then it really wasn't until COVID that they got rid of all the boats in Bay Lake and the Seven Seas Lagoon, except for the pontoons, which of course they could use for dessert parties. So, those types of things like around the parks that really made your resort days feel special more than just a pool day. They do still have some things like golf. Like you like golfing, right, Sean?
Yeah. I didn't know. I mean, obviously the swimming in Bay Lake, we knew that they got rid of that and probably way later than they probably should have gotten rid of it. But the boats, I used to rent the boats in Bay Lake. Can you officially no longer do that?
No, there's no more boats, except for the pontoon boats.
Right.
You can take them out for fishing excursions. They're pretty expensive fishing excursions. Yeah. But I still don't know if you're allowed to rent them yourself and like go out for the day in them. Like you used to be able to do that.
Yeah, I've done that on multiple occasions. I've done the small like 2-seater boats. And then my family we rented a pontoon for like 2 or 3 hours. And there, we took it out all around. So I was not aware that you couldn't do that anymore. But I guess it makes sense. At the end of the day, it's a huge liability thing. But I don't know. That feels like the weak answer.
Yeah. You definitely can't do the small boats. There's no small boats anymore. And they used to have like catamarans. You can't go sailing. The pontoon boats are still there, whether you can take them out or not yourself, like you did with your family. I'm not exactly sure. If anyone does know and can write in and let us know, we would be happy to correct ourselves there. But these types of things, so much competition from SeaWorld, from Universal, from Busch Gardens in Tampa, they had to really invest more in their theme parks. And also, I do get the feeling that how much PTO can the average American family take?
Yeah.
Right? How much vacation time can they take? And if there's 4 parks and you think to yourself, I got to go into the parks at least once, and then you got Disney Springs, you might be leaving the property, be going somewhere else. Mm-hmm. That's a discussion for later in the episode too of why that is. So is there really enough time to do all those other activities? Yeah. I would like to say yes, and that they should keep it, but I kind of do understand a bit of them reallocating resources elsewhere.
Yeah, and we've had this conversation, I think, briefly, that it's one of the, I think, high reasons up on the list why I don't believe we'll ever see an official 5th gate at Disney World, because of kind of the exact reason you said. For the most part, people aren't taking 2-week vacations to Disney World. I think your average family is doing Saturday to Saturday, Sunday to Sunday. They're coming down for 5, 6 days, 7 nights. They want to factor in a pool day. They want to factor in a shopping day. So they want to hit all 4 parks. There's not enough time. I think that people like us, we feel like we miss the resort activities a little bit more because we feel a little more inclined to spend less time in the parks because we happen to go a little more frequently, that you don't necessarily feel like you're missing out too much if you want to devote. If you and Emily go for 3 or 4 days and you only go to the parks 1 day, you don't really feel like you're missing out too much because you may have another trip planned. I think more resort activities, would be a great idea. I don't really see them investing that dollar to those activities unless they're kid focused things like the movies at night or, you know, the party games outside. Nothing more super adult focused though.
Yeah. Well, continuing on with adult focused here, there used to be a Pleasure Island. Yeah. And in that Pleasure Island Adventures Club, I feel like we missed it by maybe like 5 years.
Yeah. When did it officially close?
2008. Yeah. So
and we turned 21 in 2009. So
yeah, exactly. We missed it literally by like 1 year. That would have been great. Now, listen, in 2008, it wasn't in its heyday. You know, right. it was already a shell of itself. But the iconic Adventures Club would have been amazing. It would have been right up our alley. And I think they could bring this back too, just not quite. Actually, maybe it would work really well on Springs right now. Springs is kind of like a hodgepodge of things.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna bring it back in its old realized like what it used to be. I don't think they're just gonna import it back, but I think they can bring it back kind of in spirit with a way, the way they've kind of started to bring in some of these like more elaborate lounges in the bars, the Beak and Barrel that kind of has little story, little SEA, little hints and nods here and there. I think they can bring the spirit of the Adventurers Club back in different ways around the resort. But I don't see them again fully investing what would basically be just a giant bar for adults.
Yeah. To anyone who doesn't know, the Adventurers Club was a themed nightclub in Pleasure Island, and it was highly themed. It had actors all inside in each room, pretending to be like, you know, regulars, other, you know, patrons themselves. And it was themed to world adventure and the fact that like you would go there after going on some type of excursion. All the walls were covered in artifacts and things like that. But it was not kid friendly at all. Like it was at some points like downright dirty, like innuendos being thrown around by the actors and actresses. Like it was fun. You know, it was adult fun. And that's something I agree. Like, I don't think you're going to see that coming back. It's going to be, you know, washed of all of that. You know, there is one place I could see it being true to itself. Maybe on a Disney Cruise Line. I feel like you have more ability to do something like that on a cruise, where you have more control over it. You can plan it better. Maybe it's only open on the second and fourth night of the cruise. Adults have more freedom to go on their own because the kids can go to the Adventures Club and all of that. Not this Adventures Club. Not the kids Adventures Club.
Yeah.
They can go. I don't know what they're called on the ships, but whatever. Like
I actually agree with that. I think that's a decent idea because, like you said, adults have more ability to maybe have a night out on a cruise ship. But I think if they were to ever reintroduce something like that into the parks, it would happen. Like I think it would happen more, like I said, in little bits and pieces here and there, but never in its full imagined old capacity.
I wonder if City Walk could do it.
City Walk's fun. I think City Walk is I was at City Walk. I didn't think it was anything that great. It felt like it was, you know, had Margaritaville, Jimmy Buffett. It felt like Disney Springs, but more just like, you know, big name. Like it felt like Times Square almost. Like it didn't really feel like Disney Springs has a distinct feel to it. And City Walk just kind of felt like I was walking around Times Square.
Yeah, they really did a great job with Disney Springs, like avoiding. I know they have a Hollywood. What is that called?
Planet Hollywood, but that's also been there forever.
Planet Hollywood.
That was like one of the holdovers
that's been there
from
forever.
Downtown Disney.
Yeah, and Rainforest Cafe. But like other than those two, those are like the only like chain name brands. A lot of them are, well, actually STK. That's a chain. I guess you have Wolfgang Puck to, you know.
Yeah, but
anyway,
are those chains, or are those just, well, STK is a chain, but like Wolfgang Puck just has restaurants. You know, it's a famous name. He just happens to have a restaurant in Springs. Like they don't have Margaritaville, Jimmy Buffett. They don't have Yard House. They don't have, you know, Miller's or whatever. They don't have like the big chain restaurant names that you see everywhere else in Orlando.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, well, in the same idea of staying up late, Disney in itself closes very early, and it didn't always used to be like that. You know, you would have Springs would have fireworks at midnight every night. That was their whole, you know, that was their whole thing, right? You had a good analogy of like a wedding, right, Sean?
Yeah, Disney kind of feels like when the wedding ends is when the parks close, and then the after party is, you get 2 hours. You know, 2 hours from the last wedding that ends of the night is how late the bar is going to stay open, and then they shut it down. So, you know, I think the parks close at 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then you get Springs until midnight. But it doesn't always even feel like that much time, because if you say you leave the park after fireworks, you get back to your hotel, by the time you maybe want to get out and get back to Springs, unless you're going right to Springs, and you can't get right to Springs from the park, so you have to go back to a hotel, you might not even have that much time. And for me personally, as someone that's I'm much more of a stay up late rather than get up early person, I wish that there were restaurants or bars in Springs that stayed open till 1:30. I'm way more inclined to want to like stay out and get a nightcap, or have a couple hours, get a couple drinks, and hang out after the parks close. I've been turned away from the entrance to Disney Springs because it was like 11:30, and the guy was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I want to go get a drink. And he was like, last call's in 15 minutes. And he was basically like, don't, you know, why are you here? Go back, you know, leave, go back to your hotel. I was like, this kind of stinks. I wish that there was somewhere that I could go and you know, sit and have a drink for an hour or two after the parks, or after you get out of the parks. But it feels very obvious that part of the reason they don't stay open super late is because they don't want that kind of crowd, which I understand. And plus, it's also, you have to staff people. And when you talk about staffing, a lot of the things that we're going to talk about might be gone from Disney specifically because of staffing and because of the money that requires staffing people. So you can't stay open late if you don't have the people to work at the bars.
And that's definitely, I mean, certainly true of like hotel bars and any lounges at the hotels. Many of the Disney Springs places, I would imagine, they work for individual companies, right? Whoever owns the bar. But I just looked up of when Springs closes, and it closes at 11 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, 11:30 on Fridays and Saturdays.
Boys, watch your manners.
Yeah, if you can't say something nice.
Boys.
So speaking of the greater Disney World, we have our hotels and resorts. So there's a couple of things about the hotels and resorts that we notice are different, are gone, that Disney took away. The biggest one, though, and is the one that you're going to hear the most complaints on and the most people talking about, is Magical Express. You can't have an episode like this without mentioning at least once Magical Express and its checked baggage feature. You know, where you would check your bags at the airport where you were coming from, and then they would show up in your room or outside your room, you know, a couple hours after you landed.
Yeah, this was on each one of our lists, and pretty close to the top on each one of our lists. And I was thinking about it today, and I was doing a little bit of research on the Magical Express, because I really think this is maybe the most egregious thievery that Disney has committed to our vacation experience, because the Magical Express was introduced in 2005. A couple years after 9/11, there was a downtick in tourism. People were traveling a little less frequently. Disney was having a tough time getting people to commit to them. And they thought that a lot of people would feel a little safer, a little more at ease, if basically as soon as you got to MCO and stepped off your plane, Disney just grabbed you. You know, we've got you. We've got your bags. We have you and your party. You're getting in a bus and you're going to Disney World. You're in the Disney bubble as soon as you step off your plane in the airport. And they thought that would drive people back to the Disney resort hotels, and that worked. That was a huge spike for them. And by the time that they talked about getting rid of it in around 2019, 2020, Disney was having no problem getting people into the hotel. So it became less. I think when people talked about the Magical Express going, a lot of people said that it went away because they lost the contract with the Mears bus company. And I don't think that's...
Well, they chose not to.
Right. They chose not to renew. Disney was getting rid of this program because other companies were getting people to Disney, and Disney didn't have to pay for it. Disney was no longer worried about getting people to them. The people were coming to Disney. So they got away with the program. And I think the luggage thing, especially families traveling with a lot of kids, you have a lot of bags, you're there for a week and a half, and then you know you're going to see your bag an hour or two after you land, I think is a huge relief to people. It's one less headache they have to worry about being in the airport, again, especially if you're traveling with children. I don't like going to baggage claim, and I'm a 37-year-old man that travels by himself a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I don't even like going to baggage claim. So I know that at the time there was the discussion of the Bright Line was coming. It was going to connect Disney Springs. It was going to connect the light rail. I keep wanting to say high speed rail, but I don't know if that's necessarily correct. It's the light rail that goes up from Lauderdale. And the plan was that it was going to have a stop directly in Disney Springs, which would eliminate the need for the Magic Express because people could just get from MCO, where there is now a station, to Disney Springs. But that plan was abandoned in 2022. There is still going to be a Brightline stop in Orlando, but it's going to be further up on iDrive, closer to Universal, so it can be more central to all the parks, which doesn't really help anybody at that point because you still, even if you're going to Universal, you still have to take a train to that station and then figure out your transfer stage from there. So it almost is this helps nobody situation. But I think the Magic Express, to make a very long story real short, I think this is the biggest miss that Disney has had. And I don't see it coming back, but I think it would be such an easy thing for them to bring back. I think it would be a bigger win for the fan base, air quotes. I think then they realize how big of a huge plus it would be to bring that back.
Yeah. So a couple things I wanted to mention on this too is, obviously one of the reasons you gave a safety reason, and I actually love that. I totally did not think of that as a reason to get people to travel again. I mean, traveling was so down after 9/11, for years, and you don't just do this overnight. So like they're thinking about this in 2004.
Oh yeah.
Like before they, you know what I mean? Like, so I definitely think you're right on that. Also, you have more competition, like you were saying before, and more competition on iDrive and other hotels in the area that are cheaper. And so you have to give perks to staying on property, right? And so this was a way to capture them, keep them on property, keep them in that bubble. You know what I just realized as you were saying this is like, yeah, they want to keep people on property. I think maybe one big reason it may have, or the decision to close it seemed like a good decision for them, is because they doubled the amount of DVC resorts during the time of Magical Express. And so now they don't really have to keep people on property. Those people that are DVC and going to their DVC resort, they're locked in for the next 30 years, 50 years staying on Disney property. So it's not like, we want to grab them and make sure that they don't go to, the Holiday Inn down the road. They're locked in on staying on Disney property. And of course that's on everybody, right? I mean, you have so many more resorts, but just think about how many people bought into DVC during that time period and how many people are now going to be on there anyway. Like, so I think that the need for it is probably diminished in their mind, and that they didn't really need it.
The thought that we have people on the hook. We don't have to worry about Disney Vacation Club members aren't going to get an Airbnb in Orlando. So yeah, I just think this is one of the more short-sighted things that they've done to take away something that I think is such a very easy perk to offer people.
Yeah. And even like the aspect of the bubble, without it, it kind of does get diminished. Like you had said earlier, I think maybe even off camera, like the most unmagical thing to do is land at MCO, and open your phone and book a $50 Uber.
Just have to deal with the Ubers, because I every time I've gone, the last couple of times I've gone, I've called an Uber or booked an Uber, and then the person just doesn't show up. Because they're driving around the airport, they've picked someone else up. It's just such an unpleasant experience, specifically at that airport.
Well, and I'd even bring that further into Disney property too. Like the last time that Emily and I stayed at the Island Tower in the Polynesian, we were going to Epcot, and I wanted to get an Uber because I thought, listen, it's going to take us 10 minutes to walk all the way to the Transportation Ticket Center. You know, we're pretty much at Grand Floridian at the, to start. And then we have to go through security at Transportation Ticket Center, and then you have to wait for the monorail. And then it's a 15-minute, 20-minute monorail ride to Epcot. It's like, let's just get an Uber. And she said, no, I want to do this. Like, let's try this. Let's see how this works. We did it, and it was great, actually. Like it was a lot of fun. It was nice. It was like its own little ride. And I'm so glad like I didn't climb into the back of a Honda Civic that smells like smoke, and you know what I mean? Like it's just, it takes you out of the bubble. It takes you out of Disney. And
it takes you, it pulls you out, because they've got their own radio station on, they're listening or whatever. It's just it's a small things that pull you out.
Be sure you take good care of our friends.
Gosh, they're with me. What could possibly go wrong?
Okay, how about sticking in hotels? Actually, we got a bunch for hotels, but something that really I miss so much is the H2O products. I understand that they didn't appreciate me swiping and stealing all of their products. Especially when they would come in and do housekeeping every day. That's going to be another gripe.
Right. They didn't stop offering them. They just ran out of them.
Yeah, it seems like that. If they came in housekeeping every day, a 4-day trip, you got 4 shampoos because you just keep on taking them after they put them out there. So yes, okay, they put them in these larger containers attached to the wall. I'm actually okay with that now. It doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that the formula changed, even though they bought H2O's formula for the body wash and the shampoo. It's not the same. The smell is off. They tried to make it the same smell. It's a bit off, but it used to like exfoliate. Used to feel so much better. I still have some of them at my house.
Yeah,
I bring them back every once in a while. And then they're also missing some, like the foot cream, the foot rub. Emily really liked that one.
I was gonna say I was never using the foot rub, but no, my parents would lift these out of the bathrooms. Like they would have them for as long as they would last at home. They would keep them. But I think this leads into a larger conversation of like Disney's hotels starting to feel just so much more corporate, starting to feel so much more just Marriott, where like the shower is the same shower in every Marriott courtyard you go to, where like there's the pumps and the things on the wall with the shampoo, and it just yes, it's a hotel room at the end of the day. But I feel like the Disney hotel rooms used to, even just a hotel room had a feel to it that like you're in Disney World, and those little Mickey Minnie shampoo bottles were one of them. And just another thing that makes you feel like you're just in any old hotel.
Well, yeah, and the fact that it was a brand that you would never find anywhere else. So it was a very distinct, like, if I smelt that, I knew I was at Disney World, and, and it would stick with you. But like you said, if you go to a Marriott, you go to any other hotel, and it's just like a name brand, like a no-name brand of a soap, shampoo, or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and sticking with rooms, something that I can't believe is true is that room service is gone.
Yeah.
Except for the Grand Floridian. Grand Floridian does have room service, not all the time, but every other park, it's gone. Even those late night pizza delivery services. Every hotel used to be able to get pizza delivered to you, and that's now gone too.
Yeah, I didn't know Disney ever offered room service. When I was like, I did not know that was ever a thing, because if I wanted food at night, we would just stop in, the dining hall on our way back, and we would get a thing of chicken fingers, a pizza, we'd get a burger, and we'd just bring it back to the room. I don't think I have ever even thought about ordering food to the room. And I understand your point that, like, how could you not have room service? It would be so convenient for people, for families, for kids, like, something that people wouldn't have to worry about. But I mean, at the same time, you can DoorDash right to your Disney hotel. And again, that's another thing that, like, Disney, people are getting their needs without Disney having to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, I guess, like, room service is never good, right? Like, no one is ever happy with the room service they get. But, I just think that, like, you're in this deluxe, this very expensive hotel, and it's like there's no one there taking care of you at all, right? You pick up the phone and you try to call the front desk. You can't call the front desk. You're calling a central, like, service center, right? Like, you're a call center. You're not calling housekeeping of your hotel. You're calling, like, the housekeeping of the Disney parks entire brand. Like, I don't even know if it's on Walt Disney World property. It might not be.
That's kind of a good point. That for all the money you're spending, what are they really doing for you other than changing your sheets every other? Because I don't even does housekeeping even come around every day anymore? I don't think
every other day now.
Yeah,
it's every other day. Yes.
So yeah,
I mean, DVC is every fourth day, and every 4 and 8. 4 and 7 or 4 and 8 days. You get your trash emptied every 4 days, and you get a full cleaning every 8 days, I think. But you know what? You signed up for that. That's in the contract. Like, it says that in the contract when you sign up. To be spending $1,000 a night, or like $900 a night or something like that, and not get housekeeping, like, that's daily housekeeping. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So let's go resort specific. Boardwalk, taking away Jelly Rolls, taking away the brewery that was there, the microbrewery. There's really not much there anymore, and I feel like they've really diminished that property.
Yeah, we've spoken about this a couple times, that the boardwalk is the next area of Disney World that needs a revitalization in the worst way, because they've taken some great things away from the boardwalk and have done nothing with them. Getting rid of Big River, that was the microbrewery. That place was awesome. That was like such a not a one of a kind, restaurant or bar experience, but it was one of a kind in Disney. A place that made its own beer, had a much more relaxed environment that was good for adults.
You can sit outside.
You sit outside on the lake. But then again, Jelly Rolls, a place that anyone who's of legal drinking age and has been to Disney World has probably been to Jelly Rolls and has had a great time. And I still don't quite understand the getting rid of that. And the getting rid of that and not repurposing it elsewhere. If it was just that they have a vision for that space that they want to transform into something else, we don't quite know their plans. But to have lost Jelly Rolls and had it not reopened somewhere else on property in a different capacity feels like such a lost, not a missed opportunity because it was here, but just a fun lost thing that. A lot of people were sad to see Jelly Rolls go.
I mean, from what I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but that they raised the rent on Jelly Rolls because Jelly Rolls is a different company, right? So they raised the rent on them, and it was just beyond what they could afford, I guess, or what they could do.
So Disney raised the rent?
Yes, but it's like, well, what are you doing with it now? Like, I can see that as like, hey, we're going to raise the rent really high because we do want you out. But hey, listen, if you're willing to pay that,
if you're willing to pay, great. But like it sounds like what you're saying. It sounds like they might have been trying to force them out. But what have you done with the space? You've done nothing with it. And again, I don't, Disney has plans 10 years down the line. Who knows what they're planning for? They could be planning a total renovation of the boardwalk as we speak, and we just don't know it yet. But that is such an underutilized, great part of the resort that is in such a great area. Like, that is such a huge area to stay, to be in.
Yeah.
Oh, look what the cat dragged in.
Hey.
Hello.
Joining us is Mr. Too Positive for Negative April, JJ.
Well, I am overly positive sometimes, I guess.
Absolutely. Are you going to be able to do this conversation? We're getting pretty negative.
Oh, good. See, this is why I let you guys do your thing, just to get all the negativity out.
We were just talking about the boardwalk in sad shape and how Jelly Rolls is gone and could be better.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate what has happened to the boardwalk, because it was, for a while, the best nightlife in Disney World was at the boardwalk, and it kind of replaced Pleasure Island, and then it became, well, the boardwalk really is the spot.
Yeah, well, that's something we already covered. And Adventures Club.
Oh, good.
Anything you want to say on Adventures Club? Because that was your brainchild there.
It just seems like it would be the most fun thing, is to just be in a hyper themed sort of room with a bunch of theater and theme park nerds just as the audience. It's kind of the best place to play like that.
Yeah.
You want to talk about an all immersive experience, like the Galaxy Cruiser.
Right.
What if you did something with the Adventures Club where you take on a role? Maybe it's not necessarily a hotel, but it's it's like a dinner show. It's where everyone plays a role, everyone plays a part, not a murder mystery, but you're coming there for the night and you pay one price, you get a meal, you get drinks, but everyone's on the show. I think that'd be kind of cool.
So in one of Disney's most recent cruise ships, they are doing something very similar to that. It's I forget which cruise ship it is, but they have the Heroes Villains theme. And it's a lot of actors that are out and about and they remember you. And there's this game that's going on behind the scenes of the heroes versus the villains. And you can kind of pick your side, whether you want to be on the villain side or the hero side. And they remember what you pick. That's cool. It sounds like they learned a lot from the Star Cruiser in that sense.
Yeah, I heard that the people that were involved in that, involved in the Star Cruiser, ended up on the Destiny team.
Oh, that's good. Destiny. Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah,
that's the new ship.
Destiny. The Destiny is the new ship. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, we still, a little pet peeve of mine. Hire them back. You can do it, Disney. The orchestra at the Grand Floridian.
Yes.
That was so nice.
It really was.
And that is cost cutting. But, I mean, is it really it's just a couple more employees? You employ 70,000 people at Disney World alone, right? You can't go 8 more, and have a band.
And they probably have an overlap of session musicians from Beauty and the Beast and the orchestra that they have on the seasonal events. They have a roster of classical musicians that they could just say, hey, you want a full-time gig?
Right. Yeah. That's a great idea. When JJ becomes CEO in after
we got to work
Josh.
On that. Official, put a change.org petition in there.
Okay, our next topic is Tables in Wonderland. So Tables in Wonderland, if you're not aware, was a discount card that you could buy if you were a DVC or annual pass holder. And what this discount card would get you would be 20% off most table service restaurants, your entire bill, alcohol included. The only caveat is that it would add an 18% gratuity to the bill automatically. But, I think most people are giving at least 18% anyway. So you're getting pretty much your tip for free, right?
Yeah, and I feel like 18% is almost low nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like if tipping culture has come for where they're guilting me to add a tip when I go to like Jersey Mike's, right? Like my waiter now is in the 22% area rather than the 18% area back then.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Why do you think they got rid of this? What would be? Was it just there were so many more restaurants open that it maybe didn't make financial sense for them?
It was during COVID that they suspended the program, and they just never brought it back. It actually still exists on Disney's website. You can still go and look it up. It just says currently unavailable. So they could always bring it back. One thing I always thought of was maybe cast members didn't really care for it because of the guaranteed gratuity that was put on it. But I actually remember asking at Paddlefish one time when we were using it whether what they liked it, if they minded it, and the response was that no, they didn't mind it. What they did mind was the Disney dining plan, because a lot of people, because you're just paying credits and you don't actually feel like you're paying a bill. A lot of people either wouldn't pay a tip or would severely underpay their tip. Not really thinking how much their meal was.
I think a lot of people get the dining plan thinking that the tip is part of what they've already paid for.
Right. Where it's not like when you go on like a cruise ship and you get like the drink package, they make it very clear that part of the reason it's so expensive is because you're paying a gratuity every single day. Like you're paying 15 to 18% per day. So yeah, and everyone, just the common misnomer for the Disney dining plan is that, oh, it's free. This is just free food. It's like, it's not. You've paid for it. You probably paid more for it than you're gonna get out of it. But it's not free by any means, and you should always be leaving some money, leaving some cash on the table for your servers.
Yeah, it is like people think of it as prepaying for their vacation, and they can go cash free. Yeah, that's exactly, I feel like, the issue.
Well, that's progress for you.
So let's head over to the parks region. I feel like we're back in Mouse Madness.
Is it March already?
No, don't do that to JJ. He just finished March. So back under the parks area, we have early entry and extra magic hours. So these are things that do exist, but exist in completely different ways than they did before. Sean, you want to explain that to us?
Yeah, they have taken away, they've stolen from us the true extra magic hours. Every day there would be something, whether it was morning or evening. There would be, Animal Kingdom would open an hour or two early. Epcot would stay open till 11 o'clock. And it was a perk you got as a resort guest. Extra magic hours, of course, were one of the first things that got nixed during COVID, because in order to keep those parks open later and have them open earlier, you need all the staffing. And that was one of the bigger issues with reopening the parks, was how low staffed they were. It's what led us to the 2 o'clock park hopping nonsense that we're glad to be rid of. It's what led us to the park. It's still there? I thought that was gone.
For annual pass holders, you still, I believe, have... Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's if you don't have a park reservation, you have to wait until 2 p.m. to go into the park. But if I have a park reservation for Epcot and I go into Epcot, then I can leave before 2 p.m. and go into Hollywood Studios. Okay. It's ridiculous how it's still complicated.
That's even more complicated. But
unless you're going to Magic Kingdom on a weekend, then you need a park pass no matter what. You can't get in there after 2 p.m.
Let's add some more rules.
Oh my goodness.
If it's the third full moon of the year, you're not allowed to.
But yeah, so what they're doing nowadays is they have this thing called early entry, which in my opinion is a giant scam. It's just a way to get you in the, they let you in the park a little early, but they curtail it after about 20-25 minutes. They end the privileges of early entry. And if you were unfortunate enough to have gotten on an experience, you're basically out of luck, and you have to wait until the park officially opens, and you're just standing around. And the magic hours they offer now are exclusive to deluxe DVC villa guests and some select moderate resorts. I don't even know if moderate is.
It's the
Gotcha.
Swan and
Okay.
Dolphin. It's some of it's like Four Seasons. It's like the hotels that are in Disney World that aren't operated by Disney. But yeah, it's for the evenings. That is the mornings are for everybody. The half hour every park.
Yeah, and again, it's the notion of yet another thing that they're specifically catering towards their wealthiest guests. I just think is not the best look. It's you can come to the park and stay late if only if you're staying at the Grand Floridian. Only if you're spending $600, $700, $800 a night for your hotel room are you allowed to stay in the park late. I just think it's a bad look, and I think they should bring back true extra magic hours for all resort guests, whether it's morning or evening. But again, I don't know what their plans are for any of that.
Yeah, I definitely preferred the mix because it would let the morning people take advantage of the morning, and then the evening people, you would pick the one that you could take the most advantage of, and it would split the resort guests into two different parks naturally by whether they're morning people or evening people.
They would be on the same day? They would have extra hours
There
at
would
two
be
different parks on the same day?
it would be like Mondays is Epcot mornings, Wednesdays Epcot evenings. And the way it would fall is that sometimes there would be morning hours at Park A and evening hours at Park B.
Oh, okay. Well, I always liked the morning extra magic hours or early entry, whatever we're calling it, because I would always go to the other parks. I always found that whatever park had the extra magic hours was the park that was going to be more crowded that day.
Right.
And so
that's another hack. It's like going to Magic Kingdom on the party days. It's
right.
Like no one wants the limited hours. They're afraid, and it leaves the park empty, and you can actually do everything you wanted to do anyway.
Yeah. Now, as someone, I've been to the evening hours as they are now, and I gotta say they are fantastic. There's nobody there. They're completely empty, and those are awesome. But they're also too far in between. Like there's only usually 2 a week, and it's on like a Tuesday and a Thursday. Probably 2 of the least crowded days, which is just a shame because if you get there on a Friday and you're leaving on Sunday, you're not going to be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Open later in general. Sometimes these parks were open until like 1 a.m. and it didn't even have to be an extra magic hours or anything like that. Now we see parks closing consistently at 10 p.m. Or earlier.
Yeah.
In Animal Kingdom, at least.
Yeah, it's a real shame. The parks do have a different atmosphere at night, and not just like, oh, there's more adults around. It's not as like screaming kids. I mean it in a sense of like the lighting, the way a land might make you feel. It feels different at night. Big Thunder Mountain is beautiful at night, and it's a really fun ride, a really fun night ride. But in summer, if the park's open till 10 and the sun doesn't go down until 8:30, you've got only an hour of nighttime at all of Magic Kingdom.
Yep. I really missed or I've wanted to take a part of one of those 24-hour times. I would have loved that challenge.
If they ever did that, let me know. We got to see if the ReedyGeeks can show up for the 24-hour.
I don't know if I'm built for that anymore.
I'm not, but I'll try.
That'd be tough because you can't sleep anywhere. Right? You can't. They're not going to let you just pop down.
It's a great, big, beautiful power nap.
That is like a 20-minute power nap.
It's a 20-minute ride. So if you can nod off quick, that might power you through the rest of your day.
I would love the challenge. We could record an episode from live on set.
From the People Mover.
24-hour day.
From the People Mover. Yeah.
24 hours on the People Mover.
I'm going to call Ron right after this. We'll get him to do it.
Move over, Ron on the go. There's a new sheriff in town. 24 hours of the People Mover.
I bet he well, he definitely had done more than 24 hours over the course of the 6 or 7 days, but yeah. Okay, how about paper fast passes? This is something that they took away that I know JJ has a longing for.
Yeah, I'm not foolish enough to believe that they're going to bring back the kiosks and the paper, but I do think that I enjoy the idea of a free Darwinistic approach to the fast pass distribution where, if you want the fast pass, be in the park and click the button to get the fast pass. I like that idea, and I still think it can work in tandem with some of these single lightning lane things, and maybe that's how you navigate around this. You're still getting revenue from single, and maybe every park has 2 or 3 instead of just 1. You can still find the revenue somewhere else, right? Maybe that makes Premier more desirable for some people too. I have to be the first one in the park if I want to get the lightning lane for Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Yeah.
Then maybe that pushes more people into Premier. You don't know.
Can I share a little anecdote here?
Share
we
away.
are something that the listeners will probably hear in a couple months is that my wife and I are planning a trip to Tokyo Disneyland, and one of the aspects of their park life is that they get 15 minutes. If you're staying in select hotels, you get 15 minutes of early entry, and it's not enough to get onto an actual ride. But what it is enough to do is get in the park and book a fast pass real fast.
Yeah.
Book your fast pass, because they have a system similar to what JJ's talking about. So that actually led me and Emily. It's going to be the end of our trip, and we were like, I am afraid I'm going to be so tired, and I don't want to miss anything while we're there. This is going to be our only time in like the Eastern Hemisphere,
Right.
We need to upgrade, and we got what they call their vacation packages, which is essentially going to be exactly what JJ's saying, is that we can go on any ride whenever we want, like the Premier Pass.
Yeah.
And we're getting that because I just don't trust myself to be able to do that. And it's such you do it or you never do it.
Right.
Yeah, and it's so much different than you guys go to Walt Disney World 3, 4, 5 times a year. I don't want to say you'll never go back to the Tokyo parks, but you may not. So if you're there, do it.
Right.
I think I would feel probably differently about doing something like Premier or VIP in the foreign parks, because there's a chance I'm never getting back here. So it's the value is much greater for what you're getting because of just you may not ever be back there. But yeah. I agree to what JJ was saying. I love the idea of, like, in the world we live in now with like social media and content creators. Like, people do drops, people do announcements, people do every day at noon, a ride is going to drop 500 fast passes. You don't know what it's going to be. But if you have to be there to get it, it's going to be something good. It's not going to be a small world. It's not going to be, Fill Our Magic. It's going to be something really worth it. But you buy your lightning lanes, you buy your fast pass, your Premier Pass, whatever. You buy it as you normally would, but you have an opportunity to get something in the park. Something that's a
crazy system.
You can't get if you have to be in the park, and at 1:00, 1,000 fast passes drop for later that day for Snow White Mine Train.
That's virtual queue.
Or Tron or something. Yeah, exactly. Something that you don't have to pay for. It's free. When it's out, it's out. When it's gone, it's gone. But you have to be there to get it. And that's what the paper. That's what the paper fast pass always felt like, because you would literally, I would literally sprint around the park, going from machine to machine, pulling tickets out for the people I was with, because that was the only way to get fast passes, because they would be, the big rides would be sold out by 11 o'clock.
Yeah, the problem with paper fast pass and JJ's point was you still have to rope drop. You still have to be there immediately in order to get a return time. Now, Sean, your idea which JJ pointed out, is the virtual queue. At 1 p.m., you sign up for the virtual queue for Guardians for the rest of the day. That's an interesting idea. I think that could be interesting together with the other system. I would like to bring into a supply and demand. My idea of you just go to the lightning lane, and depending on how many people are in the lightning lane at that time determines the price of the lightning lane. And then you just with an Apple Pay, you just pay it right there, then you get in the lane.
Tap your phone and pay.
Yep.
I need to see that beta tested.
Yeah.
In theory, I like the idea, but I feel like it's just gonna what would be too expensive, and what would be the top? Like, is it going to be $100 to ride the ride?
It would be that it can't be price maxed, otherwise it doesn't work. But also it would only be at that really high price for like 5 minutes, and then it would come down because nobody's paying that price, and so then the line is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And so it might, for like a short period of time, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, it's like way too expensive, and then it gets down to like a normal amount.
Does that lead to like a gang of angry people just waiting outside the entrance to Tiana's Bayou, waiting for the price to drop, like you're playing some kind of weird stock market game?
That's a good point. Yes. That's a good point. Yeah. That might be the case. You would need anarchy. You would need people like shooing you away.
Right.
Like, open the lane here, guys. Open the walkway here. All right, let's head on to our next one. 180-day dining reservations. They took that away and replaced it with 60-day dining reservations.
Yeah, and I understand why, because when I put this on the list, this is one of the things that, like with the Magical Express and one or two other things, I wanted to make sure I understood the why before I spoke about it. And this was a direct result of COVID, but it's also a direct result since the pandemic. People just don't plan vacations that far out in advance anymore. You never know when plans are going to change. You never know, what life is going to, I guess, throw at you. But I guess Disney's data has suggested that the majority of people aren't booking 12 to 15-month in advance vacations anymore. They're booking much shorter windows away from their trip, so there's no longer the need for the 180-day reservation. And Disney knowing how many people are going to be at that restaurant in the next 50 to 60 days helps them control staffing, helps them control the seasonal demand for certain things. So again, I understand, and it makes total sense, the why. But for me, the 180-day dining reservation day, that was something we put in the calendar. That was something we looked forward to when we would book a vacation 12 to 15 months, because a Disney vacation's not the cheapest thing. So you want to have as much time to pay it off. So, you book it as far out as you can. And then that 180-day mark rolls around. You're like, man, we still have 6 months till our trip. But hey, we get to make all our plans for dining now, and it would kind of force you to think about what you want to do on certain days and where you want to be. So it was just a little way to get more excited about your trip, far enough away from your trip that like it's a bummer to think about how far away it is. But hey, at least we get to make all our reservations now. And
I hated that. The person who even said it is overly positive. I hated that. I was so glad when they shortened the time frame, because it's just way too far to expect people to have a grasp of their trip. It was like, it was beneficial to the people that knew what they were doing, but someone who didn't want to plan what they were eating in 6 months, like it was way too far in advance. And the average person wasn't thinking about their trip yet. They're like, okay, I guess we'll book in 4 months. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I'm behind?
Yeah.
The restaurant that I wanted was sold out 2 months ago?
Yeah. Or you just found out about this restaurant. Like you start doing research with like 4 months left. And
It's 3 months before my trip. I should start learning about the place that I'm going to.
Right. And it's already too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm indifferent to it. I kind of like what ended up happening in the after everything's said and done. You can get a lot of reservations day of, either by walking up and going on the standby list, or checking MDE day of. So I'm kind of okay with all of that. But I see what you mean, Sean. Like the idea of there being thresholds and milestones on your way to, another one is like you get your magic bands in the
You
mail.
get your magic bands.
That was awesome. Yeah.
And it's
which
a
actually
good
brings
segue.
us
It's a good segue.
to the next item is make magic bands matter again.
Yeah.
I love this.
That's, the phone tap thing is a little clumsy for people sometimes. So there's a little bit of, sometimes there's like a line to get into the fast pass lightning lane. Sorry. Sometimes a little backlog to get into the lightning lane. And the Magic Band Plus is fully just a worse version.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, I just always happen to get stuck, no matter what park I'm at or no matter what ride I'm at. I just always happen to get stuck in line behind a group of people that don't know how to use their phone to do the check-in. So it's always like they're like spinning the phone around and putting it in different. It's like, how do I do this? It's like, this always happens. Just use the Magic Band. I loved it. You guys got me the Magic Band for my birthday, and I loved using it. I love Magic Bands. They're so fun. And they're just useless now. They're not useless. They have a purpose, but like they used to be everything. And now that they've kind of introduced you just have your phone wallet as your key and your ticket for everything. Magic Bands are just wearable accessories that can also serve as some little function to you, but they're no longer the
necessary,
the necessity. You had to be Magic Banded up to be in the parks.
Yeah, I full-heartedly love Magic Bands. I wish that they made them like integral into all parts of the system. Like if I do a order of food, they know that I've arrived based on my Magic Band. You know what I mean? I don't even have to go in there and click that I'm here. Things like that, I think would have been great. I can never get my phone to work on my door. I can get into the park and I can do my lightning lane, but my door to the room never works. The Magic Band just never fails. It doesn't.
Right.
The only problem is that you have to update the software every once in a while. Always make sure you go to front desk your first day there, so they can update the Magic Bands, because they run updates a lot and then they got like unattached. So and that's another thing. You can have an assortment of Magic Bands, and they're all attached to your account. Like that's so cool.
You can mix in their wearable technology. You can mix and match them with your outfits, your park you're going to that day, whatever your general vibe is that day. Magic Bands are great, and they need to have more of a purpose.
Yeah, I don't even mind that they cost something now and they're not giving them to you for free. Like that could have been okay going away, the free Magic Bands, as long as they like didn't make them, I don't know, they gave them more of a purpose and they didn't botch Magic Band number 2 and they didn't ask for me to pay $50. Like that's too much.
Now the problem is they're too expensive for the little you get, the little you get out of it that you need it for. You don't need it. Right. So to spend $50 on it, I appreciate you guys for doing it, but it's not something I don't know if I would have done it myself.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's not adding the convenience factor of it. It's not worth $50 of value for a lot of people.
Right. And that $50 adds up if you've got 3 or 4 people in your party.
Well, speaking of buying things at Disney, how about resort delivery of merchandise? That never came back after COVID. And this is a big complaint of many people at Walt Disney World, is that you have to carry around all of your souvenirs all day long, hoping that it doesn't break while you're on Guardians, or shoving it into Big Thunder Mountain's like little pouch that they have,
Have your hands the insides of your hands ever turned dark blue from the bag just rubbing on your skin all day, and the ink and the dye from the bag just rubs out on your skin? I hate this because I think people would be more inclined to spend on that big souvenir. We used to do our big souvenir purchases, and it would be in the room that night or the next morning. You know, it might not be immediate, but it would be there for you. And I think that was a huge perk. I think it would make people spend more money in the parks. And again, I think it would make people feel a little more inclined. Oh, if I buy that, I got to carry it around. So I'll come back and get it later. You never do. You never do. Or I'll just see if it's at World of Disney, and then it's not. And then, oops, you didn't get it.
Yeah, it was a huge piece of, like, the Disney difference, right? Like, that's a really big differentiator between that and any theme park in existence. You know, that's so head and shoulders beyond what other places would offer, and it was so nice to just be like, no, I'll pick it up at my hotel in a day or two instead. That's much better.
Yeah.
It just shows that, like, Disney was all about the convenience and the, like, a little bit of, like, pampering you, right? Like the Magical Express, the Magic Bands, you know, you don't need a key anymore. You are your own key, right? We're going to take your picture for you. You know, you just have to walk around, spend your money, and not think of anything, and we're going to take care of it all. And it seems like all of that kind of came crashing down. It's not like luxury anymore, you know. Yeah. Now you have to mule around your souvenirs that you bought with your money.
It does make you not want to spend as much money.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now, I did just hear an idea from Len Testa's Disney Dish actually may not have been Disney Dish, may have been the other one he does, of having a paid aspect of delivery. Like maybe it's 2-day delivery to your room for free, but if you want it the next day, it's like $5. Would you pay?
Yes, that was on the case for. Yes, and I think that idea makes a lot of sense because every day they'll run a truck back to the hotel, and if you want it on that same day, you got to pay, and it'll go to the front of the line.
The issue is, I feel like the majority of people wouldn't pay, and it would just turn into it's just the free service again, and Disney would very quickly realize people don't care if they're not getting their sweatshirt or their throw blanket for 2 days. They're here until Sunday, and it's Tuesday. They'll get it when they get it. So I feel like people wouldn't pay unless it was like, oh my God, I'm leaving tomorrow. I need it at my resort tomorrow morning. I'll pay the surcharge. It's almost like, you know, you're paying Amazon Prime. You're paying to have it next day delivery. You're paying the upcharge or whatever.
Right.
You're hitting a certain threshold. Oh, maybe that's part of it too. If you hit a certain threshold, a certain dollar amount, then it's free. Because I know I've done that before with, you were talking about Prime. I do that sometimes with like the overnight delivery or like the same day delivery. You hit like a certain number and it's free.
Right.
Yeah. The only thing that gets me is like if there's a truck going from Epcot to Polynesian tonight anyway, because it's, you know, of the people that want it the day of, like it's not any.
Why is my thing not going to be on there?
Yeah, exactly. Like just throw mine on the truck too.
Right.
It's a little bag.
Well, I think the majority of the time it would be, from a logistical standpoint, it would still be within the same day, but it's like you don't have to make that guarantee if you're not charging the money. You can give yourself some wiggle room. Oh, it didn't make the truck. It didn't make the whatever.
Okay.
You know, they under promise and over deliver, and then it's there that same night. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Right.
You're happy when it comes a day early.
Or just bring it back. Just like, whatever. Just bring it back. Well, it's staying in the same merchandise area here. You know, they used to have a lot more ride, land, resort specific merchandise. And they used to have themed merchandise in specific locations. So where you would only be able to find pirate merchandise in Adventureland, and only in Adventureland would you find Adventureland themed merchandise, and there wouldn't be any just generic merchandise. I think one of the big things here is like most of the merchandise has become very generic, mass produced stuff.
Yeah. I think you still get some of like the upper moderate and deluxe resorts. You can still get like specific merchandise for that hotel. I know that every DVC resort has, you know, DVC member attire, whether it's polo shirts or you know,
Not
pins
always.
or whatever. No, I mean I've seen it at a, you know, Saratoga. I've seen it at Grand Floridian. I've even seen it at Port Orleans, which isn't a DVC, but they have some of their own little merch. But it doesn't seem like you can get that in the parks anymore, unless it's some of the newer places. Like you can get you can get Black Spire Outpost, you know, T-shirts at Batu, but you know, you can't really get you know, I don't know. Can you get Jungle Cruise specific merchandise in Magic Kingdom?
No, and like when Muppets was going out, or when Rock and Roller Coaster was going out, or Dinosaur was going out, like that's what people wanted. People wanted something that said Dinosaur
revenue
on it.
Opportunity. Yeah, for sure.
Huge.
And it just shows that, like, you know, that's not what they'll do. You know, the only two rides, or I'll put it as three. The only three rides I can like really think of that has very specific merch. Pirates of the Caribbean. When you come out of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, that is all pirate stuff. And not all of it says Pirates of the Caribbean on it, but like they got swords and like they got the hook and everything like that.
Right.
Tower of Terror, that's pretty much like Tower of Terror stuff when you come out of there. And Haunted Mansion has that specific Haunted Mansion store.
I was going to say Haunted Mansion and Tower of Terror each have those ridiculously overpriced long sleeve shirts that people get. I forget what they're called, but they're like $80 or $90, and they have like say spirit jerseys. They say Walt Disney World on the back, and they have specific Haunted Mansion and Tower of Terror themed ones. That I think those are the like you said, those are the only rides I can think of off the top of my head that have ride specific merchandise.
Yeah, but then this like kind of goes into everything seems to be more emporiumized, you know, where it's just like one big store of like World of Disney and one big store of like just generic any type of merchandise,
just generic Mickey Mouse T-shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, the resorts kind of do it, but you know, there's not like a Colonel Ezekiel Moreland plush at Wilderness Lodge, but there is a hat that says Wilderness Lodge.
Right.
Now you're talking. That's the best idea you've had all day.
How about Maelstrom?
How about it? Does anyone have any specific hard feelings about Maelstrom? Or is it just me?
Anyone here?
I don't think anyone ever has had feelings about Maelstrom.
I had to mention it. I had to keep my brand going. I miss Maelstrom every day. I always will. I can leave it at that. We can move on.
There's just a real severe lack of angry trolls on that ride.
No, there's tons of angry trolls at Disney. Just not specifically Norwegian trolls.
They all have Twitter accounts.
Disappear! Back over the pond!
Before COVID, you used to get a gift at the festivals if you completed like a certain task. So
they do that a little bit still.
But the gifts are like another food.
Yeah, if you buy
like
5 items of food, you get another piece of food.
Yeah, you get a cookie or something. Yep.
Yeah.
But they used to be like pretty nice, like a cutting board or like, you know, an ornament for your Christmas tree or, something really like, you know, with purpose, other than just another food item. How about Osborne lights?
Oh, yeah. I mean, what do they do with them?
Right, where are they?
They're in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, it would be really cool if Jollywood could somehow bring this back in some fashion, some kind of holiday light show. If it's not exactly a reboot of the Osborne Lights, if they could bring this back, this idea in some capacity, I think this was one of the cooler things that I don't think I ever really fully appreciated until it was gone. But it feels like with how popular Jollywood is getting, maybe this is something they could bring back in some capacity.
And I think it would be so much better now too. They wouldn't just be using regular lights, it'd be projections, it'd be, better timed and everything like that. I think that could be really cool. Just the idea of like to rock music and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Turn on the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah. We've talked about this before, especially with our guests, but street performers, that's something that they've taken away over time. Entertainment that's not attached to like a specific show or anything like that, just like streetmosphere going on in the middle of Main Street USA or Future World or Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, it's such a shame because we're always like weird little details of like a guy that would entertain you while you were online, some mime in France, some this thing, and you're like, oh, there's always someone putting on some little show somewhere.
They used to have the guys in France that would like get up and balance on the chairs or whatever. I don't know if those guys are still there, but like think of it. Even like when you talk about like in the parks, I think this is something, and we've spoken about this. I think maybe in the episode that we talked about the live performances from cast members, like this is something that would make Galaxy's Edge feel so much more livable.
Yes,
and so much more like living and breathing. If like there were actual cast members that were like playing roles and playing parts, like someone comes up to you in the marketplace and is trying to sell you something, and like just people that are living in this environment and living in this world that are just coming and going throughout their day, and you're just there in their world, and I think something like that is just feel like much more of a living, breathing thing than just the land that it is now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be Ray. It doesn't have to be Chewbacca or
just
like.
Right. Just generic alien-looking creature that happens to be visiting Batu just like we are.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
I just think of like the Tatooine, the guys that get mad at Luke in the cantina,
Yes.
Just have those kind of interactions with Cat, because they do it in a way with the stormtroopers and Kylo Ren.
And what could be cool too is like they're selling things, and if they could actually sell it to you, right? Like
like this is how I buy my souvenir. I just bought a street trinket from this guy.
That'd be so cool. Yeah.
And like if you buy, like we were just talking about with the festivals, like there's like 7 people walking around at different parts of the day, and if you end up buying all 7, then you can bring it to Doc. That store there that sells all those collectibles, and then like if you show him you have all 7, then he gives you something special or something like that. Like that could be cool.
That would be really cool.
That's kind of, that sounds like a more, I don't want to say grown up, but like what they used to do with the kids in the World Showcase with like the Kim Possible or Perry the Platypus. Like do fun little things like that, little scavenger hunts, little things that make you really want to spend time in the land. I think these are all good ideas, and we know Josh is listening. So,
I mean, obviously.
Last but not least, character interactions. Used to have a lot more character interactions, not just meet and greets in one location where you have to wait online for a while or get a fast pass for, or a lightning lane now. But just character interactions that would just show up. And I do see them every once in a while. A lot of times it's when you're going like in and out of the park at odd times, not rope drop, not at the end of the day, right? But maybe like, 1 p.m., in the middle of the week going into Epcot, and you might see Pluto off to the side signing stuff.
Yeah, it feels like they're starting to maybe bring that back a little more, but just like that spontaneity that anything can happen at any moment. So much of your day is so pre-planned and so regimented nowadays with having to be here at this time and have this reservation here and there and this, that, and you had to be here and there with this time. And that's why I think, those cavalcades were cool. The Cool Kids Summer is a really neat thing. Just bring back more random fun where all of a sudden there's a bunch of characters and they're walking. We've said before, like, I'm not a character person. I'm probably not going to approach Goofy or Pluto if they're walking around a park, but that's what feels so Disney, is when you turn around and Chip and Dale are right there.
Yeah.
It feels better when there's more random fun events like that you just happen to be in the right place at the right time and you got to take your picture with a certain character. And
we know why it's not there. I mean, they're selling lightning lanes in order to see these people. They're pushing people to go to prefix dinners that have character meet and greets. And, they're making so much more money off of that than giving it to you for free, just like randomly in the park. But I definitely agree with you with spontaneity too.
Yeah,
I fully agree. I mean, I'd say, do we have time for a game? But I jumped on to play a game. I've been on air for like... who knows how long?
I think we have time for games at another time.
Yeah.
But I think we've done a sufficient job bemoaning some of the former glory of Disney World without getting too. We didn't neg too hard.
I don't think so. And I think a lot of times too, we see why they did it and we understand it. And we wish that they just would tweak it now. We realize this is a publicly traded company and they're not our friend, right? they're going to charge us for some of these things. We kind of understand that, but give us the option.
We don't like it.
Speak for yourself.
We don't like it.
I live for shareholder value.
Shareholder value of ReedyGeeks.
Yeah. And the Walt Disney Corporation, of course.
What is our shareholder value currently?
The shareholders owe us $100 each. All right, Sean, you want to take us out?
Thanks for listening to another episode of the ReedyGeeks podcast. Like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Any questions, comments, concerns, future titles, or topic ideas, email us at reedygeeks@gmail.com and check us out on all our socials at ReedyGeeks. We'll see you next time.
Oh, JJ just texted if we're still on. Oh, yeah. We're halfway through. We're not even.
This week's Honest Send-Off comes courtesy of the Geeks. If you have an honest send-off that you want played at the end of one of our episodes, please submit an audio clip to us via our email address, reedygeeks@gmail.com. ReedyGeeks, a Walt Disney World podcast, is hosted and executive produced by Andrew Shopey, Sean Murphy, and JJ Hefner. Music and audio engineering by JJ Hefner.
Bon voyage.